All right, for the 9-patch star block, you need to cut all your pieces for the quilt block. I've got my center and my backgrounds, and then I do need to make some half square triangles. So on the back side of the background, I'm going to draw a line from corner to corner with the pencil. You can use like a disappearing ink or Fixon pen, but the mechanical pencil works great. So I'm going to lay these right sides together, and then what I'm going to do is stitch a scant 1/4 inch seam on both sides of that drawn line. Okay, so I am going to make sure that my seam is lined up with the, or my presser foot is lined up with the drawn line. And I'm going to leave my needle in the down position when I get to the end so I can pivot. Just makes it go a lot quicker. And then when I'm done, I'm going to snip my threads, pull it out, and now I have all my pieces. So what I'm going to do now is cut on the draw line. Alright, so now I'm going to just cut on the drawn line, both pieces, and I'm going to open them up and press the seam to the dark side. Now that I have my seams pressed, I'm going to be squaring these up. So just trimming off a little bit. You can either use a square ruler, or I like to use the block lock ruler. There's a little groove in here that nestles into the seams, and so squaring or trimming them up is Alright, so now I have my half square triangles all nice and trimmed up. Now I want to lay the block out. To lay the quilt block out, I'm going to use my Steady Betty board. It's great for transferring quilt blocks, and you can also press on it as well. So let's see, in the 4 corners are my backgrounds. So I'm going to go ahead and put that out. Make sure my right sides are up. And then my center square is going to be the solid piece of fabric. And then I have my kind of pinwheels or half square triangles that are going to be traveling around the block. So now I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine and stitch them together. Take my first 2 pieces and get those sewn together, and then move down the rows. I'm just going to leave that in and then grab my next 2 pieces, right sides together, and sew those together. And repeat for my last row. I'm going to snip off my first section, open it up, make sure I've got it in the right order, and then stitch my next piece on. I'm going to repeat that, snip off my second section, make sure they're in the right order, and sew my next one on. And the last one. Let's see. Want the backgrounds in the corners, so make sure I get those correct. What I'm going to do now is snip off the first 2 sections. This keeps them in order, keeps them together, and makes it really easy and nice. Alright, so I'm going to lay these 2 right sides together. I'm going to make sure that this seam, that each of those seams is going to be going opposite, so they kind of nestle together. I'm just going to hold it down my finger. You can pin if you need. And before continuing, I'm going to maneuver the other one, the other seam, so they lay flat and nestle together nicely. Okay, for this one, I need both this larger section plus the last row. So I'm going to snip that off and then make sure when I lay this out, it's going all the correct directions. All right, and then I'm going to sew with the larger piece on the top because it already has its seams going one direction, and so that will help me decide where that other seam needs to go. So they're opposite each other. They're not adding a lot of bulk by being together. So I need to readjust that, make sure it's correct. And then I can sew. Then same with this piece. Make sure my seams are going the right way. And my seam wants to jump up, so I'm going to lift my presser foot, readjust, because I didn't pin it, so, and then keep going. All right. And there is the 9-patch star.